صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. شق قمر نقل الخبر حل القدر. يا الفراق أجد تعلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. العدل أتى وفى والظلم انتفى والحزن أطفى وأعد البنات ببهه تكمى. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. كرم الريح صادق صريح أم فصيح ويغلي فيك الخير توساما. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. الأرواح بصارا والعبد انتصارا والكبر اعتصارا. يا ليها الجمل تكلما. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. وعادل وعفو وفاضل زوج الأرامل يا اللي بيك الصبر تبسما. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. الآن جرى والغرن استوى واللبن أطابا. يا اللي بيك الحلم تجسما. صلى الله عليه وسلم.
End of female infanticide. Before the advent of Islam, the Arabs practiced the cruel custom of burying their daughters alive out of shame or fear of poverty. This horrific act was widespread, reflecting the darkness of that time. However, with the arrival of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, this barbaric practice was condemned and ultimately eradicated. The Prophet's message of mercy and compassion for all human beings, especially the weak and vulnerable, brought an end to this atrocity. Through his teachings, the value and dignity of women were restored, marking a significant transformation in society. Islam's stance against female infanticide is a powerful reminder of the sanctity of life and the Prophet's mission to uplift and protect the oppressed.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Of Salama bin al-Aqwa. Salama bin al-Aqwa, a noble companion, was severely injured in the leg during the Battle of Khaybar. The wound was deep and the pain was unbearable, leading many to believe he would never recover. However, Salama approached the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, seeking his blessing. The Prophet gently blew 3 times over the wound, and by the grace of Allah, the injury was completely healed. Salama's leg regained its strength, and he never suffered from the wound again. This miracle reflects the Prophet's role as a healer and the divine power that accompanied his prayers, providing relief and recovery to those who believed in him.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
With a dry udder. During a time of severe drought, a frail sheep, so weak that its ribs were visible, stood with a completely dry udder. The companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, were hungry and in dire need. The Prophet approached the sheep and, by the will of Allah, placed his hand upon its udder. Instantly, the udder filled with milk, and the sheep's body regained its strength, becoming healthy and full. The companions watched in awe as the milk overflowed from the vessel, spilling onto the ground. This miraculous event was not only a display of the Prophet's divine connection, but also a sign of Allah's mercy and provision, even in the most desperate of times. Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Of the moon. One of the most well-known miracles of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the splitting of the moon. The Quraysh, the tribe of Mecca, demanded a sign to prove his prophethood. By the will of Allah, the full moon, shining brightly in the sky, was miraculously split into 2 halves. Each half moved away from the other, creating a sight that left those who witnessed it in awe. This extraordinary event was a clear sign of the divine support for the Prophet, reinforcing the truth of his message. The miracle of the moon splitting is a testament to the power of Allah and the authenticity of Prophet Muhammad's mission.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Qatada bin al-Nu'man. During the Battle of Uhud, the brave companion Qatada bin al-Nu'man fought valiantly. In the heat of the battle, an arrow struck him, dislodging one of his eyes. He rushed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, holding his eye in his hand. The Prophet took the eye, placed it back into its socket, and prayed to Allah. Miraculously, the eye was restored to its original state, becoming the most beautiful and sharp-sighted of his 2 eyes. This incredible event is a testament to the divine power granted to the Prophet and his role as a healer and intercessor for his followers.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Ibn Rabah, the noble companion, was an Ethiopian slave who endured the harshest forms of torture due to his faith in God and monotheism. His masters would place a large rock on his chest in the scorching desert heat, trying to force him to renounce his religion. But Bilal, despite his severe pain, would repeat one word, Ahad, Ahad, indicating the oneness of God. While Bilal was in this difficult situation, he raised his finger to the sky, signifying his unwavering faith. In a touching moment of faith, an Arab man descended, touched the heavy rock, and lifted it from Bilal's chest as if it were a small stone. Bilal then stood up with strength and courage he had never had before, freed from the torment, and more faithful than ever. He thanked this Arab man. This scene was a clear indication that God would not abandon his faithful servants, and that patience and faith are the way to salvation from all oppression and tribulation.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Camel. On a remarkable occasion, a camel approached the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and to the astonishment of those present, the animal began to speak. The camel was pleading to a radiant light in front of it, seeking justice and mercy. The Prophet, understanding the camel's grievances, addressed its concerns and ensured it was treated with kindness. This miraculous event demonstrates the Prophet's compassion towards all creatures, human and animal alike. The speaking camel is a sign of the extraordinary connection between the Prophet and all beings, showcasing the divine care bestowed upon him.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Of the tree trunk. In the mosque of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there was a humble tree trunk used as a pulpit. When the Prophet began using a new pulpit, the old trunk was left aside. But something extraordinary happened. This inanimate object began to cry like a child, yearning for the touch of the Prophet. The companions in the mosque were astonished as they heard the trunk weeping, longing for the presence of the Prophet. The Prophet, with his tender heart, approached the trunk and comforted it, placing his hand on it until it ceased crying. This touching event illustrates the deep connection the natural world had with the Prophet and his profound spiritual presence.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. شق مرقل الخبر حل القدر. يا الفراق أجد تعلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. العدل أتى وفى والظلم انتفى والحزن أطفى وأعد البنات ببته تكمى. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. كالمرح صادق صريح أمي فصيح ويغلي فيك الخير توسما. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. الأنوار بصارا والعبد انتصارا والكبر اعتصارا. يا علليها الجمل تكلما. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. وعادل وعفو وفاضل زوج العرامل يا اللي بيك الصبر تبسما. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. الخضر استوى واللبن أطابا، يا اللي ليك الحلو